Gunray's cell. When Lunara returns, Ventress runs off and almost leads Ahsoka into an unceremonious death by elevator, luckily being pulled back by Unduli. The Master tries to tell the Padawan to stay back, and we see that though Ahsoka appeared fearless and was willing to fight her on her own, she did know the truth.
All due respect, but Ventress is too powerful for any one Jedi to fight alone.
And while they fight in the reactor, Ahsoka finds it too difficult to simply wait. She seeks out one of the commandos' guidance.
Wouldn't we have a better chance of stopping her if I helped?
Sometimes, being a good soldier means doing what you think is right.
Showing up just in time, she's able to force push Ventress at the last moment. Meanwhile, back with Newt, we see that the same commando who had just given her advice was a traitor, killing the rest of the guard and freeing the Neimoidian. The non-clone human Pharaoh Argus fights Greef for control of the prisoner, but the slimy separatist actually gets his hands dirty and knocks the clone out. They escape, while Ahsoka's forced to give the report of her failure to Anakin. Though Lunara had to admit, she was happy to have her orders disobeyed this time.
Master Skywalker should be proud.
They started a bit of a master-saving streak. Anakin and Kenobi had nearly captured Count Dooku, but ended up in a cave system on the planet Vancor. The entrances were collapsing, and noxious gases were being released, causing the pair to pass out. Luckily, Ahsoka and a pair of troopers had just arrived to extract them. When the Padawan's grilling Anakin for his failed mission and near death, he tried to call on Obi-Wan to defend him, but Kenobi enjoys the payback.
Chime in, anytime.
Oh no, I'm enjoying this far too much.
From here they would go to rescue Aayla Secur's forces from the Battle of Quell. Exiting the Resolute via LA-AT gunships, they would make their way through the B-2 rocket droids, as her and Rex watched while her master jumped on one of these flying B-2s and rode it down to the target. Once her transport crashed through the Liberty's hull, they would be able to rendezvous with Sakura and work their way toward a Charger C-70 for evac. As they were running through the docking tube, Anakin knew they could not make it and force-pushed them forward, turning back to contain the explosion. Ahsoka would not leave her master, and the two Jedi were able to cut through the blast doors and pull them onto the cruiser. But as they're flying toward Anakin's flagship, hyena droids fired through the cockpit and killed the trooper, his head smashing into the controls of the hyperdrive system. It could not be stopped, forcing them to disengage and make the blind jump through hyperspace. Aayla asked Ahsoka to go to the bridge and help pilot the ship. They would have to turn off all power, including Anakin's life support systems, in order to manually steer out of the path of a star. Ahsoka at the helm, she's able to place them just off center and gravity slingshot towards the remote world of Maradun. It would be a tough crash landing, but all things considered, she did a great job. Rex would rush to set up camp and offered to stay with Skywalker, as Ahsoka, Sakura, and her troops make contact with the locals. Though she's worried to leave her master, Rex reassures her.
Hey kid, good luck.
And while they walk through the tall grass, Aayla helps Ahsoka with the difficulties of trying to avoid attachments, while also caring for those close to you.
It's forbidden for Jedi to form attachments, yet we are supposed to be compassionate.
Don't lose 1,000 lives just to save one.
But that doesn't mean that I can't try to save his life.
Moments later, they would be attacked by Mastiff Falons, killing Lucky, Flash, and Cameron. But the following morning, they would discover a Lurman village. The Elder's upset to see these Jedi, as his people fled to this world to avoid the Clone Wars. And though Ahsoka gives a general response that the Republic fights for good, he knows it's much more complex, and tries to shoo them out of the village. But she can't leave without getting help for her master.
I will send my son, Wag 2, to help your friend. He is a healer.
They arrive back at the crash site to see another Mastiff attacking Rex and Anakin. As her green blade is about to strike it down, the Loco stops her and wrangles it, and then helps bring Anakin back to the village. The following morning, Rex spots a Separatist landing craft descending on them. With the Lurman wanting to stay neutral, the Republic forces rush out of the village. And later with Rex, she agrees with him that these people are cowards. But Sakura thinks she's missing the bigger point here.
No pride, I guess.
I call it no courage.
Sometimes it takes courage to stick to one's beliefs, young Padawan.
When they're spotted by a probe droid, it leads them to the CIS base, where they witness the defoliator test launch which almost consumed Rex and Bly. Ahsoka and Sakura would scale the wall and stealthily eliminate clankers, opening the door. When they arrive back at the village, the Republic forces override the Elders' protest and set up stolen CIS shield generators, knowing that the defoliator was going to be used on these peaceful people next. When the first round is sent, the shield hold up, but wave after wave of droids would eventually work their way past the plasma, firing on the shield and leaving the organics all open to being consumed by flames, which were harmless to the battle droids. This certainty forced the Lurmen to violate their extremely pacifist code. Though Anakin would destroy the prototype weapon, the Elder Son would rally villagers to grab weapons and eliminate the droids. Ahsoka's looking proudly upon these brave Lurmen, learning that while the war was not as simple as good versus evil, especially not for the neutral population dragged into the fighting, she could be proud of the Jedi. And that as long as the Jedi acted nobly, they would eventually cause others to bravely fight against evil as well. Shortly after this, Senator Amidala and Jar Jar would be captured while trying to investigate the poisoning of Gungan waters. The mad scientist Dr. Nuvo Vindi was recreating the once eradicated Blue Shadow virus, a virus that was able to kill all known species in the galaxy, despite their vast genetic differences. The CIS supported these efforts, and once Padme's location was discovered, a Republic strike team was deployed. Ahsoka guides a thermal detonator over a tunnel in the underground lab. The doors blown open, she leads her troops through the waves of droids, while Anakin leads another team repelling out of LA-ATs. And when he gets inside, he's impressed with his Padawan.
Looks like Ahsoka's distraction is working.
Kenobi and the bomb squad arrive, while Anakin frees Padme. As the Doctor fled, he activated all of the bombs, but one was missing. Anakin and Obi-Wan would pursue the Doctor while the rest of the forces searched for the droid assistant. Padme would discover the LEP droid and the final bomb while the Doc was captured, seeming to have saved the day.
She's right next to me. I'm okay too. Thanks for asking.
But moments later, the tenacious droid assistant found a way back to one of the samples and detonated it. Mirroring her master's actions over Quell, she has to use her abilities in the Force to let the rest of her team make it through, though she is able to slip in as the doors close. They discover that enough of the virus had made its way into the room to infect them all, but her faith in Sky Guy at least appears unshaken.
Don't worry. My master will find a cure for this virus.
Padme and Jar Jar were wearing protective suits, but during a scrimmage with the battle droids that were trying to unleash the virus onto the surface of Naboo, a stray bolt severs Padme's air supply. Annie and Obi-Wan are able to secure a route used to make the antidote. They're then able to use the basis systems to contain the virus that had been released. With everyone due to recover, Anakin and his Padawan joke about who really saved the day, but it is clear that she was close to death. Next would be the Battle of Ryloth, where Ahsoka would for the first time command her own fighter squadron.
This is it. Your first command. Don't be nervous.
I wish everyone would stop saying that.
She had assisted her master doing this numerous times, and part of his strategy was to use sheer will to overcome the enemy. From her Delta 7, she would lead Blue Squadron in their V-19s toward the CIS command ship. Ahsoka would rush straight at the target, drawing the enemy fighters away to leave a lane for the V-19s. But reinforcements arrived and the Republic fighters were surrounded, quickly taking losses from heavy flak and vulture droids. Admiral Yularen and her master order her to abort the mission, but the little one's eager to prove that she can force a victory through any odds. She outright refuses to respect the chain of command.
Cool your jets, Admiral.
As more V-19s are shot down, she realizes that the vulture droids are deliberately crashing into the Venator. She finally aborts the mission and makes it back to the Venator so he could jump to safety. In the hangar, Ahsoka's devastated and sitting upon her Delta 7.
Ahsoka, I am very disappointed in you. You not only disobeyed the Admiral, you disobeyed me.
But the Padawan points out that she learned it from him, which is exactly why Yoda believed these two should be paired.
Listen and obey your superiors.
But sometimes you get carried away.
All that means is that I understand what you're going through.
A realization that showed some of the subtle genius in the way the Council ran the Order. She would go to the Admiral's medical bed and apologize, unsure if he would recover. Anakin is seeming carefree and confident that they would figure it out.
Don't worry, Ahsoka.
No! That's what you said last time, and now everyone's gone.
To which her master basically responds by saying, "Go to your room."
Go back to your quarters and cool off. We'll finish this talk later.
She actually ended up inspiring the counterstrike by stating that they can't just smash through. Anakin would use the newly destroyed Venator to pilot it into the Lucrehulk, a clever upgrade to the Kamikaze Vulture strategy, and shows great skills as a master and teacher by giving her even more responsibility right after this setback.
I'm taking over the Defender, and I'm leaving Commander Ahsoka in charge.
With Rex right there to keep the boys following orders and respecting the commander. Though up in the command bridge, even Rex is unsure of this brazen plan, while the other clone lets his doubts in her slip.
Yes, but normally we have General Skywalker to lead us and... I meant no offense, Commander.
Anakin is nearing the command ship, and Ahsoka explains how she can modify the plan by putting the ventral side toward the enemy, allowing the bombers to release above and below the CIS frigates, flanking the enemy and completely taking them out before going to rescue Anakin in the pod. Rex is intrigued, but the others are still worried.
Then the strategy will work, sir?
Well, will it?
Yes.
The Defender would careen into the Lucrehulk while her plan was put into action. The Munificents were blown to space debris, and Ahsoka felt redeemed. She and her master's combined plan paved the way for Obi-Wan and Windu's invasion force. But the very next mission would see the stubbornness re-emerge.
Get in the ship, now!
Can't you see they're retreating?
The Battle of Felucia was a literal example of what Anakin was saying to her back over Ryloth. That she couldn't see the entire situation from where she was on the chain of command. Now she couldn't see the battle droids that were surrounding her and were just seconds away from emerging from the jungle. And with these back-to-back issues, the Council steps in.
Because of Ahsoka's advanced abilities, I forgot how young she is.
I think she needs some time away from the battlefield.
On archive security. Reflect on your actions, you can, Padawan.
Jocasta Nu gives her a tour of the library and shows her where the Jedi Council keeps the holocrons, which even she does not have access to. But she tries to convince Ahsoka that her job was one of the most important in the Order. Cad Bane was hired by Darth Sidious to steal one of these holocrons, a repository of Jedi secrets, getting paid with, among other things, a Republic stealth ship. Bane's ally Cato Parasiti was a Claudite, a shape-shifting species, and was able to impersonate a Jedi to access the library. Ahsoka intercepts him out of eagerness to redeem herself and mostly boredom, but the faux Jedi snaps at her to leave him alone, and after hacking the systems with the help of codes provided by Sidious, the librarian comes to inform the Jedi about the temple-wide alert, to which the Claudite quickly and easily knocks her unconscious, before morphing into her. When Ahsoka hears over the comms that Skyguy and Kenobi were looking for an intruder, and she overhears the seeming librarian secretly communicating with someone, she knows she found the intruder. But they did not know about Bane. He was able to use an explosive attached to his droid partner to nearly kill most of the Jedi High Council and take out the command center. One partner dead and the other one arrested, Bane donned his disguise and walked out with the cube. Realizing her fate was of no concern to Bane, she explains that their mission was to next capture Bolo Rupal, the Jedi Keeper of the Kyber Crystals.
What's on the crystal?
A list of every known Force-sensitive child in the galaxy. The future younglings. The future of the Jedi Order.
To assist in this mission, the Separatists gave Bane several munificents. But as he's about to jump to hyperspace, Anakin orders the destruction of their engines and gathers the troops in the hangar to propose another of his bold plans. Yularen is livid when he hears that the Jedi wants to use walkers as a boarding craft, but his closest allies Rex and Ahsoka love it.
They are pressurized.
And they're equipped with magnetic feet. Good call.
They didn't just work. They stomped over the Munificent and picked off vultures, allowing the team to make it on board and eventually take the bridge. Bane was gone, and it was revealed that he had both the crystal and the holocron. They pursue him down to one of the cannon batteries, but he cuts the gravity generators and a firefight ensues. Eventually, R2 is able to get the gravity back on, and Ahsoka pursues him through the blast doors, but a loose shell was hit by a droid's bolt, causing an explosion that collapsed in on Anakin as he was trying to cut through to Ahsoka. She would face the greatest bounty hunter alive, and did quite well, severely outmatching him in hand-to-hand combat.
I'm not impressed.
But he made up for it in gadgets, shocking the Padawan until she was unconscious. Detecting this in the Force, Anakin is surged back to consciousness. When he makes it to her, Bane has her behind his shield, and is shocking her in order to force Anakin to open up the holocron.
No, Master! Don't do it!
But he was not about to lose her. Calling on the Force, the device was opened, and though Anakin pulled his lightsabers back, the bounty hunter was able to open an airlock, forcing the Master to prioritize Ahsoka and let Bane slip away. All the while those loose shells were about to go off, Anakin tells Rex that he and the troopers have to wait, because they're going to hunt down Bane before he escapes. But Ahsoka has to talk some sense into him.
This is the way to the hangar! We must get off the ship now!
With just seconds to spare, they do make it free of the explosion. Anakin takes responsibility for the mission being a failure, while Ahsoka watches him get grilled by Yularen. Back in the hangar, Ahsoka would be trying to help a trooper get to the medbay, but he was oddly not responding, and she just assumed he hit his head and needed help even more.
You're no clone!
In order to escape the explosion, the crafty bounty hunter donned clone trooper armor and was able to make it to a V-19. Anakin tried to cut him off and lock down the hyperspace rings, but Bane would escape. When he contacts Sidious, he tells him to use his list gained via the holocron and kyber crystal to locate children strong in the Force. Many of the strongest Jedi unite in meditation to sense which children were in danger. Picking up on multiple targets, Obi-Wan would head to Rhodia, while Ahsoka and Anakin would head to Naboo. The Padawan would have her lightsaber ripped away and had to dodge a rapid burst of blaster fire. As he escapes, his jetpack sputter out, and her master would be there to drag him down, falling at Ahsoka's feet.
I think I've earned the right to wear this again.
Bane would be taken to a Jedi prison cell to be questioned on the whereabouts of 2 children he was able to kidnap. Anakin suggests that they use the Force to make him talk, and Ahsoka suggests that these powerful masters all work together to perform a mind trick at once. 3 of the strongest Jedi all trying to manipulate his mind, Bane is still able to hold up. But Windu had warned the group that it could go wrong and his mind would shatter. And Ahsoka gets nervous seeing how this technique borders on torture. Though it does work, luckily for Bane, he gives up before he's driven mad. Anakin said that Palpatine should be updated on this, so Kenobi and Mace tell him that he can go to the Senate building, while they go with Bane to the supposed location of the holocron. At the Chancellor's office, Palpatine seems annoyed by Ahsoka's presence, and leaves her waiting outside.
Excuse us, child.
Bane would escape from Kenobi and Windu, but Ahsoka and Anakin were working on Bane's ship, going through flight records and navigational data. Though he had wiped most of the information, they could identify several worlds that he had traveled to. But only one planet explained the ash on the ship, and the only world without children, Mustafar. When they arrive, Anakin senses the world is strong in the dark side of the Force, and Ahsoka is able to sense where the children were being held.
This way.
Sidious had ordered the base to self-destruct, but after a short fight with the medical droids, they're able to escape with the Force-sensitive children. Following this, Obi, Annie, and Ahsoka would travel to Felucia after the GAR lost contact with the medical station in orbit. As soon as they arrived, the Padawan spots an automated Vulture droid deployer. The T-6 shuttle was an unarmed vessel, and is no match for the quick and accurate fighters, taking on critical damage just after they entered the Felucia atmosphere, forcing them to eject via these unique shock-absorbing pods. They would walk through the thick jungles, and even encounter the enormous Rancor variety that is only found on this world. When Annie and Obi bicker about who is correct more often, and which way they should blindly travel through the jungle, Ahsoka stays focused and notices something important.
If you two are done arguing, I think there's some smoke on the horizon.
Arriving at the village, they see that this is a Niceland farming community, one of the most expensive crops in the galaxy, used for medical reasons or to make spice. When searching for villagers, they are set upon by bounty hunters, but the village elder Cassis explains that they're helping the locals, that pirates come and take a percentage of their crop every harvest, and while Anakin critiques the bounty hunters for exploiting the villagers as well, Kenobi says they cannot help these people. This infuriates Ahsoka, but similar to the situation on Meriden, Kenobi knows that if they're seen as Republic allies, the CIS will slaughter them, not just take a cut of their crops.
But
Better they get robbed by pirates than attract the interest of General Grievous and his whole.
But just then, the Weequay gang of Hondo Onaka show up on speeder bikes. Sugi, the leader of this bounty hunter group, challenges the Pirate King, and they make a threat that they will be back. Anakin knows that they cannot win with just these 4 bounty hunters, so he takes charge and starts training the Felucians in martial arts. A difficult task, while Ahsoka's learning more about these bounty hunters.